we as leaders get our mindset shifted out of having the answers and instead having the questions that drive people to learn and grow? About 3 or 4 years ago, when I first read Multipliers, I read Liz's story about how she began to make the shift herself from having the answers to having the questions. She talked about and maybe admitted to being a bit of a bossy mom when it came to bedtime at her house. And as I was reading the book, I thought, wow, there might be some similarities here, and perhaps I'm a bit of a bossy mom myself. So I decided I want to try this out. I want to see if this notion of asking questions actually works. So one of Liz's colleagues had basically said, hey Liz, I know bedtime's a nightmare at your house, but what I want you to do is I want you to go home and talk to your kids in nothing but the form of a question. So I think, okay, well this sounds like an interesting idea. I will try this. So I come home after a long commute. I have nothing on my agenda except questions. No telling, no directions, no orders. I walk in the door, I'm greeted by my daughter who looks like she's got enough energy to pull an all-nighter. I'm not encouraged by this. But I go in and I employ my agenda. Nothing but questions. Playtime's fun, dinner is interesting. 7:30 rolls around and I say, hey Claire, what time is it? Well, it's bedtime, Mommy. Yeah, and what do we need to do to get ready for bed? Well, I need to brush my teeth and put on my pajamas. Yeah, would you like a story tonight? Oh yes, can Daddy read it, please? Whew. So not only am I off the hook for reading, but very quickly, very easily, my daughter's in bed and my husband and I find each other in the hallway looking at each other going, all right, what just happened? You know, this night after night of giving orders, giving directions, this night was so much easier. Now the outcome's exactly the same. My daughter's in bed and actually in her own bed. But there was so much less stress around the house. We're all sleeping easier and we're thinking, wow, this notion of asking questions, this really works. So a few weeks later, this continues for a while, a few weeks later, we find ourselves around the dinner table again. This time, we have a house full of friends. And my daughter is kind of running around being the center of attention. I have no idea where she gets that from, by the way. And the inevitable hour rolls around. Hey, Claire, what time is it? She looks at me and then looks around the room and back at me and says, not bedtime, Mommy. So that was unexpected, to say the least. It wasn't until after everybody left that I really started to see what Liz was talking about. Because what I saw was a little girl going from reacting and responding to orders to a little girl thinking for herself. Now, of course, I still want her to go to bed. But now she's thinking and causing us to think a bit more deeply. Wow, okay, if what time is it doesn't work, what question can I ask that will work? And when I started doing this at work with my colleagues, it was really pretty amazing to see what kind of brilliance I was able to uncover. This was the experience that really helped me to see that the role of leader is changing from one of knowing, directing, and telling to one of asking, harnessing, and provoking. So what I learned from this experience is how important it is to shift from answers to questions. So where is it in your work that you are telling and directing where you could be asking and harnessing? And what brilliance might you uncover when you make this shift? So my challenge when you go back to the office is to shift from answers to questions. How about the multipliers? Those of you that had to come up with nothing but questions for 5 minutes, what was that experience like for you? Enlightening. What else? Difficult. Exhausting. Productive. What made it productive? Oh, interesting. So you spent 5 minutes to get 6 months worth of work with some questions. So what is it about that curiosity that drives us to ask questions that allow us to solve problems that we spent 6 months on and allow us to solve those problems in 5 minutes?